Well, it's about time we got another banner summary. Today is Final Fantasy XIII. We finally get snow. But we're going to start with Vanille here. So she's starting at a 4-star base. Pretty decent on the ability to pull her. She's not a 3-star though, so might be a little more rare. She's not a 5-star base, so you will see her most likely if you do all your daily pulls. It's highly likely, but don't get your hopes up. She is going to be a healing support unit. If you don't know, all of their jobs are probably going to be l'Cie because that's kind of what they were in their native game. Vanille she's one of those interesting units. A lot of YouTubers have already called her out, and even like on the Reddit, saying that she's just a bad unit. However, that's not my style. We're going to start with the Trust Mastery here. We like to see the good in units on my channel. Magistral Crest. Magistral? Yeah, Magistral Crest. Not very good at pronouncing that word, apparently. Is magic and spirit 30%. It's a pretty decent accessory. I mean, it's may or may not be something you'd want to grind out. You might find better things. Like right now, it'll be better than a hero ring. For magic, it's going to be kind of like pretty up there with the earrings. But I think this is one of the few items that'll actually give you a large amount of spirit and magic. So it can be pretty good. When it comes down to it, though, we want to look at her actual stats as a 5-star. Gotta keep in mind that she's a 5-star character. She's not a 6-star, so she's not innately out of the gate not exactly as good as some of the other units. We can start with her stats. She is a healer support, so we're kind of looking more at her magic and spirit. She's got a decent amount of spirit for a 5-star. Nothing too huge. Her MP's okay. I mean, it's pretty average for the 5-star for what her role is. She has no resistance bonuses as a character. Her equipment is pretty much in the mage side. She has the access to staves, rods, so she can be both kind of magic damage dealer, magic healing, and support. Except she's really just a healing support, so I don't know why she has access to rods. Might come up at some point. Her exclusive equipment for this event is the Marlboro Wand. That's really hard to say. Marlboro. Yeah. Actually, it's Marlboro. There is Marlboro in some Final Fantasies. Anyway, it has the effect 10% to blind and poison, which is a really low chance. You're probably not going to be auto-attacking with her that much. It's got a nice spirit boost, though. And the ability Jinx is I believe, 100% chance to disease. But it's also a physical attack, so you're really only going to use that if you really need disease on an enemy. Which could be handy if your healer's not using any other abilities, or if she's a pure support. You could use that on her to get the 10% stats down on certain bosses. As for her learned abilities, she really doesn't have that many compared to most units. She gets her MP up, but even though she doesn't have many, she does have focus and cheer. So she can fill that role of the Vaughn for focus or Cecil for focus. She can fill the role of the cheer bot in most healer slots without being that mega healer. So you could end up using her for the cheer and bring a unit, say, like Rosa for their healing. Because she has a lot of healing and MP refreshing and everything for the party, but she doesn't really have that cheer. So you could kind of put Vanille in to be in conjunction with a good healer that does not have cheer, because cheer and focus are really necessary in a lot of the fights. So she does have her places. She can synergize well with certain healers and certain tanks that can fill the role of healing majorly. The reason that she's not the best healer we'll get into when it comes to her magic, but I do want to cover Keep It Up, her ability to auto-revive. It's a status effect on an ally that's for 3 turns. They recover 30% of their maximum HP when they die. They'll just automatically revive. This is one of the big controversies that people are upset about, because they say, oh, well, this would be good if, if she... It's kind of like her raise, but it's preemptive. Problem is, it only lasts for 3 turns. It only revives for 30%. So unlike Refia, who's going to get that full life, she's only going to be doing a 30% life, and it's really hard to time this. You don't know what character's going to die. If this was either costed a lot more MP and made it the entire party got auto-revive, or it was an auto-revive for like 5, maybe even 10 turns, I could see it being worth it, but when it comes down to it, you're going to be using Focus and Cheer on this unit a lot, and other support abilities. You're not going to want to sit there auto-reviving everyone. With that in mind, though, certain events and certain fights may have a time where you just know somebody is going to die, and you want them to be able to be revived. You can throw this on your tank whenever they're really low HP, and you're like, okay, I have the choice of trying to heal bomb him, but I'm fairly sure he's going to die anyway. Throw this on him, you know he's going to be back up for the next turn, so it won't be as bad. It has its uses, but it's still just not as good as Ray's in most cases. There will be certain fights where this is going to just come in handy, and people are going to, like every other character that I bring up of, they are better than they seem. There will be a fight, I guarantee it, at some point where you kind of wish you had that, but as of right now, we don't have one. Like, there might be a fight where you could think like the Halloween event, where everybody was doomed. If you could sit there, take the 3 turns to put auto-revive on 3 characters, or even 4, I think you would have got in that case, you'd have 4 characters that would just come back to life and continue to fight. That would have been a use. There's one kind of niche use that you could have used that for that would have been really good for like parties that just weren't strong enough to take them out. So onto her magic. This is where she's kind of weaker and not a pure healer role. She is, in my opinion, more of a support. She's that character that will have your Shiva, have a Carbuncle. Well, in most cases, you'll probably put Carbuncle on your main healer right now. But she has decent cures. She has Kira for AoEing and Kiraga for single target heal. She does not have Kiraja, though, which is kind of the main heal that any healer will use right now. She does have Esuna, so she is pretty decent at keeping all of those status effects off of your party. However, she does not have Stona, and just that massive AoE healing. So she really can't be your pure healer. Like, you can't just grab just a Vanille and expect to survive the end game. However, again, she can be paired with these other healers that are good at that, and only that. So examples like Rosa is really good at healing and bringing up the MP and everything, but she doesn't have some of these other support abilities that will specifically be used by Vanille. Vanille also has some attack support, so D-Shell and D-Protect. Most likely you're going to be using Full Break, but we have had the odd event where Full Break just got resisted, whereas magic-based defense breakers, they were not resisted. So in this case, she'd be able to do that. So she's kind of got that... it's another niche. It's one of those, if Full Break doesn't work, which everybody's used to using, these might. They are much less of a percent than Full Break, but even 20% is better than no percent in those cases where Full Break isn't going to do anything. And if she's able to do all like the cheer and the focus and light heals as well as this, then she has those niche uses. In certain parties, you might have a party setup where you have, say, a Rosa, and you don't have a good kind of support character. You don't have cheer, you don't have focus already on a character. Vanille is going to fit that spot really well. Generally, anytime someone is saying, oh, this character isn't good, they don't look at they're not the type to swap out characters, or they're such a whale to the point where they have all of the best characters with all the best gear, and they have a specific setup in mind for every fight, and it works because they just bull rush through everything. Some fights with some of us free-to-play players, we can't get through without changing up our party setup and kind of catering ourselves to the fight. So Vanille, I see her as actually having a decent spot. Unfortunately, she's not a 6-star, so she doesn't get that nice boost to stats at the beginning, like just to her base stats. So that's kind of unfortunate. She does have exclusive materia as well as everyone else at this banner and the next banner, because it's all been confirmed that the next banner is going to be 3 more units, probably Lightning, Hope, and Fang, I think was her name. Those are the other 3 characters that are probably going to continue through this event, and I will have another review for them as well. Now, her last but not least part that is my favorite about her limit burst. At 5-star, max that out. Even if you don't max it out, 70% to an 89% chance, instant KO to all enemies. If I come across this in arena and I don't kill her before this gets off, that's a very large blow to your team. If you throw in a team, say like my Demon Rain account, where we throw the Demon Rain and hoping I get a Snow, get all these counter tanks that like to just counter and build up limit breaks for their team when they're being attacked, that's going to be a nightmare in arena. You're going to have all these counters, all of these double attacks, etc., pulling on all the limit break crystals, and then Vanille's just going to death everyone. And at a 70 to 89% chance, there's a pretty good idea there. Most of the enemies are going to die. In fact, you could probably one-hit wipe out the entire team if you get a little bit lucky. So her awakening stuff is pretty standard. Talmonite of Life, I think, is one of the newer items. I can't entirely remember on that. And her sprites are okay. She definitely looks like the character from Final Fantasy XIII. They did a bang-up job on that with the characters, the sprites for this round. Her 4-star looks good. Her 5-star is just kind of a little bit of flames around her, and she changed out her wand. I actually kind of like the 4-star wand better, but that's just me. So moving on here, we're going to go from Vanille over to Saz, which a lot of people are giving him a lot of shit, which is kind of interesting. He's the 3-star base of this banner, so he's going to be very easy to pull. Usually the easiest one to pull is going to get the most shit. He does have his Trust Mastery is 20-sided die. So we'll look at that here real quick. It provides physical evade and critical boost. I believe they are 20% on each, so evasion 20% and critical plus 20%. This is an interesting item. There's been a lot of threads about its viability. The critical boost is a 20% crit chance, and from what we can tell, mostly that will only work on auto attacks, counter attacks, stuff like that. They don't really seem to proc on any abilities, which really is not a good thing. So, like, this could work really well for, say, my Demon Rain. Throw this on there, get all those counters. If you're in a physical fight, he's going to just counter like mad, and if he criticals, 20% crit boost is something like, I think, like a 10% damage increase overall if you're always doing auto attacks, which counters are. So could be good for characters like that, especially since he's a tank character. The physical evade part of it will give him a 20% chance to just not take damage but still be countering. So it would work good for characters like him, Snow. Maybe throw it on Cecil and give Cecil like a counter, a black belt like I have on my main. It's a niche item. I've heard there's a possibility that this stacks with other evade effects. I have not confirmed that yet. I don't have any characters with evade effects. So characters like Lightning, apparently down the road in JP version, people are talking about you have a Trance Terra with her innate or something. She has an evade, I think, plus 20-sided die, and there's 2 other evades in the game, and apparently she's just not hittable by physical damage, which sounds great. As of right now, I'm if I get him, I might grind it out. I'm not sure. Throw it on Demon Rain, see how well it is, like how well it does. But as of right now, he's a physical damage and support character, and he's kind of the other side of the coin for physical support. He's kind of like the Vaughn, I believe. We're just going to look at his stats real quick here. As a support attacker, we're looking at his attack and probably his spirits. His attack is okay for a 5-star. He's definitely the support side of attacking. He's not a pure attacker. So his stats are kind of well balanced, if you could say that. No, well, they're kind of lacking in the defense sides and magic. So he's got okay stats. Not the greatest. This is probably why a lot of people are upset with how good he can be, because it's not the best, mostly because of these lower end stats. His attack is okay. That's where we're going to kind of focus on. So moving on here, he has no resistances. His equipment, you're probably going to be using guns with him. If you've grinded out any Rising Suns, you'll use those. You can maybe get the Killer Bow on him. But yeah, it's probably the killer bow would be your best weapon as of right now, as of this recording. His armors, they're standard kind of light DPS armor. He doesn't have anything heavy. He has an exclusive equipment from this event, the Hades Magnums. It's very interesting because it allows him to get a fire-based attack and a cold-based attack. I read cold blood, but I meant like blizzard element. It's good because of that, but other than that, like the attack isn't insanely high. I believe the demon bow is somewhere around 60 or 70 as well, so they might be slightly stronger. It has a lot of killer effects, so this would be really good if you don't have the killer bow or if you need element coverage. When it comes to his abilities, he has basically all the ranger style abilities, so aim, power shot, scatter shot, burst shot, and I believe multi-burst is on very few characters. It's a 100% critical chance to all enemies. It's decent. I mean, you could wave clear quite a bit with that. If you have, say, the critical dice... Oh, wait, no. I guess the critical dice wouldn't even work because these are abilities. I was going to say with Scattershot it would be better, but they don't actually work with that. So, decent low-end wave clear for trash mobs. HP plus 20%. Get them a little bit tankier. That's always good. Spark Strike. It's an okay lightning physical damage to a single target. However... Well, between that and this Magnum, he would have the 3 elements coverage, which isn't too bad. Gunmaster at 20% when equipped with a gun. That might actually make the Hades Magnums better than the Demon or the Killer Bow in some cases. The reason I didn't bring this up saying like it was, you know, use these Magnums right away is because the Killer Bow still in many cases will be better because of the killer effects that are on it. The killer bow essentially gets like a 50% bonus damage to any of those types. Can't remember the exact ones, but in any of those situations, the killer bow would be better. Otherwise, you want to use some sort of magnum to get Gunmaster out of it. Full break is his support style, support role ability, which, I mean, it's full break. If you've watched any other of my banners, you understand that full break is very useful, almost necessary on most fights, other than fights that have resist it. 30% stats down, all stats, increases your party's damage, decreases the enemy's damage. It in every way, shape, and form, definitely useful, and it's only 14 MP. It's one of the best abilities in the game. It's pretty much necessary for every party. If you have not got a character that has full break, you're going to want to pull for a Saz. Just get that full break on your team. There is like some better full breakers. There's full breakers that have like better specific support skill sets, so like Vaughn and Ferris. But if you don't have any of them yet, Saz is an easy one to pull at the 3-star, and he has the full break plus, you know, some other abilities. He does have Curaga, so this allows him to also kind of help with that healing on the side when he's not full breaking and doing his different element damages. Generally, you don't see Curaga on too many attacker units, but this will help with kind of keeping your tank alive in emergency situations. He also has access to the exclusive materia attacker and defender from this event. They're pretty expensive. You could get attacker times 4 on him for 40% attack and magic, because he does have... Actually, these are all physical based, so that wouldn't really help him at all. The attacker one is kind of more for snow and lightning, because they actually have magic that... like they have physical attack abilities and they have some magics. So that's where that can kind of come in. Defender could be useful on him to keep him alive, but you're probably going to use Defender on snow, if you even bother with these exclusive materials at all. They're fairly expensive in the current event. His limit burst is pretty much a standard limit burst for a damage dealer. Physical damage, this one happens to be an AoE, so it's decent for wave clear on crappier mobs. His awakening materials are pretty standard, and his sprites, they're interesting. I never really saw him as being the glowing type whenever I played Final Fantasy XIII. Like, the 5-star is a little bit excessive. It's about to scroll on screen. We're on 4-star right now. The 5-star just, I feel like it's a little bit out of hand for his character. One thing I do want to throw out there, though, they completely fucked up on his sprite 100% by not putting the baby chocobo in his hair. I would have been okay with it not being in 3 and 4 star, but at 5 star, he should have had that baby chocobo popping out. Because that was like 90% of his character was about the baby chocobo in his hair, in his afro. It's not a cool touch to just completely forget that. It's almost like they were like, oh, we didn't play this game, we don't really care. We don't care what the characters look like. That's just how I felt. Obviously, they cared enough to put in the detail for the rest of his kit, like his kit being kind of supporty, and the rest of his sprite looks really good, but it just pisses me off that they didn't put in the chocobo. The baby chocobo needs to be there, man. Alright, so we're going to move on here. We're going to get it into the big bad of this one here. We got Snow. It's coming in here. Snow's actually, I want to say, probably my favorite character from the Final Fantasy XIII series. I don't know, he just seemed like the one character that I could actually latch onto. He is actually starting out as a 4-star, just like Vanille, so he's not going to be impossible to pull. He does go up to 6-star, which is great, and he fills a role that is very similar to Demon Rain in the counter-tank physical damage dealer. Because of this, I'm hoping to get one with Demon Rain, because I just want to counter all day, all night with my whole team. That being said, he, again, is a Lissi like the rest of them. We're going to get onto his Champion's Belt for his Trust Mastery. This is a really good accessory. Defense 30, attack 30, and gives the additional effect of Champion's Belt, which, as you can see here, is 20% bonus attack and defense when equipped with a fist weapon. So we're looking at 20% there, plus 30 and 30, so that's a huge amount depending on the character you're getting it put onto. Especially if they're a fist user, so if you're throwing this on Snow, it's going to be pretty good. You may end up even throwing that, like this is an accessory, right? So you could probably throw it on characters like, I'm trying to think other 6-stars that would use it. I was thinking of Zhao, but I believe she's only a 5-star as of right now. So I think Snow probably would be the best character to put that on. Most likely. There might be another one. If there's any other characters that you can think of that are specifically would be able to use hand-to-hand and have a 6-star base, or comparable stats, like you can maybe think Amaranth would be able to use it and do pretty decently. He is pretty tanky. He has the auto-raise, or the raise ability, I think it's called Revive, whatever. He might be good, but Snow right now definitely would utilize that very well as a tanky punching character. So his base stats at 6-star, as a 6-star tank, he does have a ton of HP. He's got really good attack. I don't know if he's as high as, like, say, like, obviously Lightning would be higher, I believe. But his attack and defense are just up there. His magic and spirit are pretty good, too. Nothing insane, other than, like, his HP is really good. He has very good stats. That's just my opinion, really. No resistances, which I'm surprised. I kind of expected him to have a blizzard resistance, but I guess I was hoping a little bit too much. His equipment is a little bit lacking. However, because all of his equipment basically point towards using hand-to-hand, you're probably going to use a set of claws or knuckles or whatever anyway. He does have a specific set of... Well, it's not exactly knuckles for this event, it's actually his coat, which I guess somehow happens to be a fist weapon. It's actually pretty decent as a tanky item, and with all of these like stat boosts for hand-to-hand, and if you get his Trust Mastery, it's gonna really skyrocket the damage and defense that you'll get from it. His armors are somewhat lacking, however, you can, I believe, with clothes, you would be able to put Mirage Vest on him, which would allow him to cast Evade on himself, so that would be really helpful. He doesn't have any heavy armor, but, I mean, he's a monk tank. He's very much like Amaranth, so he's not going to be equipping all that other stuff. If anything, you can kind of think of him as like almost an upgrade to Amaranth without having the Revive, which it would be nice to have the Revive. He does have access to Black Magic, which is interesting that he only goes up to level 5. I figured he would have been level 6, but Probably not going to equip that much to him anyway on that, unless you get him the magic materia, which might be okay at casting magic. He has all water and ice style attacks, so you're going to see Aqua Strike, Frost Strike. I could have swore he had the Area Blast versions of those, but apparently I was looking at the wrong thing. I did review him earlier just for this video, but I guess I was looking at something else. I might have been looking at Lightning for a little bit. Anyway, Counter, which is one of his bread and butters, 20% defense bonus. Brawl, which is 50% bonus attack when unarmed. So when he is unarmed, I believe this is class is unarmed. Oh, maybe not. I'm not sure if Brawl actually kicks in whenever you're wearing just fist weapons. Either way, though, if you aren't wearing any weapon at all, he's going to go from 138 to be like a 65 boost, 67. So he'll be around 200 attack base, which isn't bad. He does have draw attacks, which is amazing as a counter tank because he's getting that 50% chance to automatically be the target. Whether or not you want to throw Golem on him to get provoked to increase that even more, that's up to you. You can use him for the strategy that I spoke about in the past about having him as your attacks tank and Cecil as your main tank that's going to cover that character. In most cases, though, you might not want to do that with this style because you want to get those counters off. So in that way, you may want to just have him provoke, like getting provoke on him. It's going to put him up to, I think, like a 70% chance to be hit. It's really good, especially when you're countering. So, just going to skip ahead here. Because counter is his bread and butter, he also has Eye for an Eye down here, which doubles his chance of countering. This is very similar to Demon Rain. Demon Rain has a 2.5 times bonus, so his goes up to like 70%. Is it 70 or 75? It's really high. So, he's just behind Demon Rain on the countering amount. He has Area Blast, which is amazing. 1.8 times damage to all enemies. Very good for clearing out crowds. So, trash mobs, certain fights that have lots of enemies. So, like, multiple parts on the boss that you want to break. It's a really good ability. Unfortunately, it's not as good as, like, Divider or something from Gilgamesh, but it's still really good. Fighting Spirit, counter magic attacks by 30%. So this is something that he actually has over top of Demon Rain. He counters magic as well. Demon Rain does not. Demon Rain will counter to, like, a madman against physical attacks. Snow's going to counter all the time. So I believe this actually is boosted by the Eye for an Eye as well, so he actually counters magic attacks at an extremely high rate as well, being 60% for both of them. So he is in some ways better than Demon Rain for countering, in other ways not as good because he won't counter technically as much whenever it's physical. He does have HP Stroll, which I've said in the past is a very useful or useless ability. Recovering 5 HP for every 3 steps and only useful in an exploration, and it's 5 HP. This guy's gonna have almost 4k starting. Every 3 steps, you're gonna be getting in a battle every like 10 steps, so it's really not healing you at all. HP plus 30%, it's really good, because we just explained we almost have 4k HP. This is gonna put you up 30% on almost 4ks, like another 1500 or so. Rough math, don't worry about it. Battle Roar increases attack by 50% for 3 turns to all allies and inflicts 2,000 damage to himself. It has very low MP cost. I mean, there's that. If you have no other way to increase your attack by a large amount, this is really strong because it is a strong attack 50% versus the 40 and 45 from Embolden. It's a lot of damage to deal to your tank, though. Depending on the situation, this could be really useful. If you're clearing out trash mobs, stuff like that, he can battle roar, have everybody murder everything, move on to the next round, because it's only 8 MP. However, you're going to need your healer to be healing him back up, just to counter that 2,000 damage that's constantly happening. So he doesn't really have any specific ability that makes him stand out, like having a really high single target attack, or being the most amazing cover tank out there. He is your standard kind of tank where he has draw attacks, he can get provoke on him, and his mastery is countering and still being good at other things. So he has the support ability with Battle Roar, he has the ability to AoE, and he's a really tanky brawler kind of unit. He's not going to be as good of a tank, like specifically for tanking, as say Cecil, but he's like Demon Rain in the sense that he's more of an attacker than just a tank. He's your off tank. So you have Cecil as maybe the character that's going to come in and guard Snow in some cases. You're most likely not going to want it that way because you don't want him covering too much if you want to get the counters in. But he would work well with other draw attack style tanks, so you could have multiple. You could have Demon Rain and Snow on the same party and have them. They could be taking the draw attacks and provoke away from the rest of your team, and they would both be just countering the crap out of the enemy. That's kind of where I see him being in there. Like you don't really want to pair him with a Cecil or somebody that's going to guard him, because you want him taking the damage and dishing it back out. In regards to like Demon Rain, he does have the ability to cover an ally, but if he covers, he's going to be countering as well. So it's good in that sense. So he's kind of like your off-tank damage dealer, but he's not going to be as good of a damage dealer as a straight damage dealer. So he has his role. I like where he's at. He's going to be easier for me to get than Demon Rain, so I might be able to get him on my main account. Maybe even on the Demon Rain account would be great too. So, onto his magic. Blizzard and water spells. They're okay. He didn't get up to the Agas, which I was kind of hoping, but... So, he's got a bit of support in the sense of chaining. So, if he needs to help with a Blizzara chain, then he can help out on that. For those pesky quests that have use water damage or water spells, you can at least get that with Snow now. There's very few units that actually use water innately, which is really annoying for those specific quests that are just like, you need this to succeed the mission. So he'll be able to do that too. Exclusive materia, attacker defender. I think defender times 4 would be really good on him because he is going to be that tanky character. Here we go is okay. I mean, defense 50%, spirit 50%. It's good in the regard if you don't have cheer, focus, embolden, those kind of things going on. It's a low MP, it's 3 turns. So if you're like a free-to-play character or player that doesn't have a lot of those other things, this will help him be tankier. It does cost a decent amount of the cogs for this event, so it may not be the first thing you want to go for. But it is decent. It's not as trash as most people say, because at 50% it is better than cheer and embolden and focus by a small amount. It's not better than Cecil's Sacred Guard at 6-star, but it's definitely good. For the MP cost, it's decent. It would be nice if he actually was doing it to the whole team, but we're not always that lucky, right? His Limit Burst is actually probably one of his best attacks in his kit as well. And with him countering like crazy, he's going to build limit breaks for your team a lot, because he counters magic too. So he's going to be just throwing out the bows and the knees and all that stuff. He's going to get limit breaks for everybody, which is going to work really well with Vanille in Arena, you know, building all those death spells, or death AoEs. And so his limit break is a fairly decent single target damage with ignore 50% defense. I want to say at 50% I think it doubles your damage. So if he's at a 4.1, it's like an 8.2 times attack, I believe. Yeah, I think that 50% defense ignore is double damage, double base basically. So it's like an 8.2 times attack. So I think out of all the attacks that are in, like, limit bursts that are in the game, that's probably one of the most useful damage limit breaks. Which he should be able to use quite often because of all the countering that he'll be doing, because he's also drawing the attacks. Awakening stuff, pretty standard here. Nothing too special. I mean, yeah, Prismatic Horn is his heavy one, which you can get them from events. I believe there's actually the purchase, like the buy thing. I can't even remember. The magical crates that you can buy. There's one for Snow specifically, and I think it comes with all of his awakening materials. I think it's like 3,000 lapis, though, and it basically lets you gear him out right to 6-star. I think you could farm them for cheaper, honestly, over the next, like, event or two. Unless you really want him right now and you have a lot of lapis and he's, like, your favorite character, or you want to do one of my crazy strategies with countering and building limit breaks and doing stuff that way, then yeah, go all out on him. I think he's a cool character. I actually really like his sprite, too. It might be because I'm Canadian and I like the idea of ice and snow and all that stuff, and his name's even Snow. So I like him. I think he's cool. I hope I get him. So, that's it for the characters, and as always, you guys are here for watching me, have a bunch of torment. So we're just going to minimize this here. We got all 3 of my accounts again. We're going to put Snow away. We're going to go from left to right. Left is my Demon Rain account. Middle is my main account. And on the right is the Lunith account. So this is the daily summons. I actually waited till now. It's 2:24, so I should have waited until like the last 5 minutes so that I could have done 2 sets of them. If I get something good in the second set, I'll release another video real quick right after, just being like, hey, I got them, or something, but as of right now, you just get the 3. I don't think I have any tickets that I can use, really. And I'm really low on lapis. We got a gold star on this one. So I have done my daily on a couple of them, I think yesterday. And the only account that's been lucky has been Lunith's one. It's gotten Saz. What do we got here? I need to be able to farm the event. We got Cyan, Cecil, and Freya. I swear, the drop rate for event characters just is non-existent. Cecil's pretty decent. That's on my main account, though. I would like that on another account. They could really use Cecil's. Just gonna see if I have one of these. Of course I'm full. I'm always full. I can't break down a Cecil, either. Have anybody to break down? All these people I have plans for. You all have plans! We can actually break down you guys. Nope, not that one. I don't need that many eggers. I don't even remember when I got those eggers. I'm sad. I really wanted to get at least one of them. There's more dailies ahead, though. So, as long as I don't have any of these in here. Back. Oh, I do. Okay. Everybody pray. Pray for the snow here. It's a 3-star. It could turn into a 4-star. It could get into that gold. Turn into a snow. Or it could be a Saz. I mean, something. Gilbert? Huh. I don't think I have him. Do I have you? I don't think I've ever seen you. Oh, whoa, what? Attack with 40% chance to sleep. 76 attack, 41 magic? I've never heard of you. Are you good? I don't know. That's cool. I'm fairly sure I don't have him. Let's just double check and see if we're actually should be happy or not. Let's go with series, Brave. Oh, wow. It's ordered in a way that I didn't think it would be. You're probably Brave Frontier, right? Or Brave Exvius. Blah. I'm playing Brave Frontier. Let's see. Where are you? I would assume he is. Oh, there we go. Yeah. I don't have him. He's brand new. Well, that's cool. I'm okay with getting a new character. Even if he's absolute and utter trash, I'll have to look into it later. I like getting new units. So, with that in mind, if I manage to pull a Snow, Vanille, or something exciting, or like turns into a rainbow and shatters into 3 more rainbows and gives me every character or something, then I'll definitely post another video real quick. However, whenever we get the second half of this banner, so, well, not this banner, but the second Final Fantasy XIII banner with Hope, Lightning, and Fang, I'm fairly sure it's going to happen. It's like all but confirmed that it is happening. So when that happens, I will have a part 2 of the Final Fantasy 13 banner review for you. As of right now, from what I've said, I think Snow is a great character. Again, kind of niche. Vanille is a niche character. Saz is a niche character. If you don't have a full breaker because you're free to play or you're newer and you haven't gotten one yet, definitely try to get Saz. If you don't have a good support unit with focus and or cheer, go for Vanille. That's for sure. And if you don't have a tank at all, definitely go for Snow. He's a really good counter tank, especially with draw attacks. There's not a lot of tanks that have draw attacks. Most of them rely on cover systems, which I think draw attacks is better. Mostly for the reason that in some cases you won't be able to cover the other people. So if you just innately draw attacks to your character, you're going to be taking the damage rather than even having the chance for it to go to the other characters. So with that, that's all I've got for today. If you enjoyed this video, want to see more banner reviews, more of like content, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and you can follow for more stuff. If you have any cool things that you want to talk about, throw it down in the comments. I try to get to all of the comments as fast as I can, and we'll see you in probably a couple days whenever the next banner, the next one comes out for 13.